We're going to move on now to our second debate this evening. On a day when the Sahitya Akademi belatedly condemned the murder of the writer MM Kalburgi, comes news that a young Dalit writer has been attacked by a group of men for his so-called anti-Hindu writings. His attackers said that they would chop off his fingers to prevent him from writing in the future. The attack in Devanagari in Karnataka comes just about 100 kilometers away from where Professor Kalburgi was shot. The big question is this: has the Sahitya Akademi done enough to warrant writers taking back the awards that they had returned, particularly since the attacks quite clearly continue?
More than 2 months after Professor Kalburgi was gunned down at his home, the executive body of the Sahitya Akademi has strongly condemned his murder, supporting the freedom of expression of writers. The emergency meeting of the executive body was called after more than 40 writers returned their awards, in protest of the Academy not taking a strong stand, also citing the growing intolerance in the country.
साहित्य अकादमी की विशेष बैठक में प्रोफेसर MM कलबुर्गी की हत्या की कड़े शब्दों में निंदा करती है। अकादमी भारत की सभी भाषाओं के लेखकों की अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता के अधिकार का पूरी दृढ़ता से समर्थन करती है।
After facing severe criticism, in its resolution, the Sahitya Akademi has tried to show how it wasn't late in condemning Professor Kalburgi's murder. In fact, it has also urged writers who've returned their awards to reconsider their decision. But will this condemnation be enough, or has it come too little, too late?
I certainly welcome it. It's a statement which is strong as I could have expected, and indeed in some senses even broader. I consider it a noble statement.
Why they had to have so much pressure upon them from the writers and from everywhere before they made the statement? It could have come 2 months ago. So I'm a little, I do not welcome it as much as Vikram does.
But the controversy, it seems, has also divided the writers' community, with a rare face-off between two different groups earlier today, both protesting at the Sahitya Akademi, one supporting the author's call to return awards and register their protest, the other calling it nothing more than a political tactic and a gimmick. The next few days will help clear if the Academy's resolution has quelled the writing community that's been up in arms over the murders and the growing intolerance across the country. In New Delhi, with Nidhi Razdan, Keith Yangre for NDTV.
Well, lots of choices, and remember there are more than 40 authors from across the country who have returned their Sahitya Akademi Award. So it is an individual choice on whether they will now say that, okay, we'll take it back, because the Sahitya Akademi has belatedly but perhaps correctly come out and condemned attacks on the freedom of expression in this country. We have a very large panel with us this evening. Anil Dharkar, the writer and columnist, Kiran Nagarkar, the novelist and the film and drama critic with us, Geeta Hariharan, the well-known author with me in the studio, Dr. Deepika Sharma, spokesperson of the Delhi BJP, Mridula Garg joins us as well. And I'm also joined by a very special guest. Chetna Thali is a writer and associate director in Karnataka, and I want to actually go across to Chetna first, because as we talk about so many authors and writers in the country now having to make the choice about whether they will take their awards back, the fact of the matter is this: the attacks on writers continue. So is this cause enough for all of these authors to actually reconsider whether they actually want to take these awards back, or do they want to send a broader question? Chetna Thali, thank you very much for speaking to us. The attacks on you took place on Facebook, and they took place earlier on this month. Why do you believe these attacks took place?
Excuse me, can you please increase the volume?
Chetna, can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I'm hearing.
Chetna,
Actually,
why do you believe these attacks took place? What did you write which some people felt offended by?
Yeah, actually I started receiving threats from a year when I started writing against Raghaveshwara rape issues. But later, actually in the beginning I ignored all these things. But when they started attacking me directly in their own profiles, FB profiles, so and after Kalburgi murder issue, I thought I should take it serious and I lodged complaint. You see, in social media, the growing intolerance is just actually it's life threatening. They threat me of acid attacks, of rape, and They are threatening even my family, so I took it serious.
You went to the police. Are they helping you?
Yeah, police are very cooperative and investigation is going on.
And Chetna, some of the things that you have written about
Yeah.
Are about beef consumption. You
Actu-
have endorsed the consumption of beef, and you believe this is one of the primary reasons why you have been attacked?
Yes, as actually anything critical I write, they think actually I'm writing against Modi, I'm writing against nationalism, and they claim I'm writing against Hinduism. And that is the issue. They are sending threatening messages. And after this beef issue, the Dadri incident, all this increased.
And I believe you wrote about Hindu practices in Muslim publications. Therefore, some people on the internet felt that you were anti-Hindu.
Yes. Yes, actually I write a column for News Kannada. They say that as it is owned by a Muslim person, I should not write for them. Being a Hindu, I should not write for Muslim report. That is their demand.
Chetna, is it true that one of the people who has threatened you
Yeah.
with physical assault is still out there on Facebook?
Yes.
Is still out there on Facebook,
Yes,
maintaining
yes,
a
he is.
Facebook profile?
Yes, his name is Madhusudan Gowda. He has created many profiles and he sends message and immediately deactivates at one profile and activate another. He is still active in Facebook and he says, please do it fast, please get me jailed, I wish to be there, I can do anything for Hinduism, I can do anything for Hindutva. He sends all these messages to me.
Chetna, do you feel that you need to be protected by the police in this situation?
Yeah, actually police had put beat to my home. They are giving security and investigation is going on. I feel I am not safe because he is also playing with my family, my kid and my family people.
Your children have been threatened. You have one child?
Yeah, my child. Actually, he also contacted my son through Facebook only. He is sending messages to him also.
How old is your son?
He is 16.
You have a 16-year-old son who is being threatened by this one man who keeps changing his identities on social media.
Yes, yes, yes.
As a mother, do you worry about what may happen next if he goes out, that there are people out there who may attack him because of what you write?
Yes, seriously, because they are contacting him and they are trying to brainwash him, saying that your mother is getting converted, she eats beef, so you don't trust your mother. They are sending messages like that. And as he is in adolescence, I worry he may misunderstand me, or he may be misguided, and he may be threatened by those people. So I'm worried. I'm worried more about my kid.
Anil Dharkar, would you like to respond to this? You know, as we debate whether awards should be taken back or not taken back, here is a writer who faces a clear and present threat to her life. She's been threatened with rape. Her child has been threatened. She has been threatened with acid attack. When we talk about freedom of speech and expression, let's forget about these awards. It's a constant problem for writers across our country.
Well, you know, what is happening with Chetna is that there is intimidation, and the purpose of that intimidation obviously is to get her to stop writing. Now, there may actually be no physical attack on her. These are threats which may never be carried out. But the point is, they're getting to her, they're getting to her son. Now, would you blame her if she decided at some point that it is not worth it, I better stop? I mean, she's a brave woman to come out in the open and talk about this. I really admire her for that. But I would sympathize with her if she said tomorrow that, look, I'll be a housewife, or I'll do whatever. I'll write romantic stories.
You know,
and
you
I
make
will
a
not
very
write
important
about
point.
anything that offends people.
You
and
make a
this
really
could go
interesting
right
point.
through
Yes.
society.
Yes.
It could go right through society. Therefore, what will happen is that writers will start censoring themselves, which is the most dangerous thing that can happen.
Gita Hariharan, when you started writing, did you ever believe you would end up as an activist? We are now in a situation in our country where writers like Chetna are confronted by death threats. So either they shut up and don't write, or they assume the role of being an activist almost, because there are forces of hate which will shut you down.
That is one of the reasons that we are speaking out in public spaces. We usually speak about society and about the world around us through our work. So writers are constantly critiquing and dissenting and being political through their work. But this is a moment when we've had to, as in many other past moments, we've had to come out in public spaces and speak, because there is this climate of fear that is not only affecting young writers like Chetna and the young Dalit writer who was told quite symbolically that his fingers would be chopped off. And please remember a history. There's Eklavya on the one hand, and then during the colonial period, the weavers had their thumbs chopped off. So there is that on the one hand. There is also the terrible case of Perumal Murugan, who had to write his own obituary. For a writer to say that the writer in me is dead is probably one of the most tragic things that can happen, not just to the writer, but to the readers and to all of society. So that is why we don't have to call ourselves activists. We are just writers and citizens.
Yeah. Mridula Garg, you heard what Chetna had to say as well. There are so many writers in this country who face this threat. There are a lot of you who have not faced death threats. But how can you constantly support women like Chetna or the young Dalit writer in Karnataka who's been attacked yesterday? Do you believe that this cause, this coming together of writers will not just end maybe now in a few weeks from now, that you can actually, the Sahitya Akademi perhaps can be a body which can sustain this for an indefinite period of time, fighting against this atrocity?
I think the writers have to be together for a long time, because this kind of intolerance and threats, they are there to stop people from writing. When I was arrested in 1982, it did not prevent me from writing, but a lot of women writers told me that it prevented them from saying what they wanted to say. So it is that a threat to one writer is actually has very widespread repercussions. It prevents other people from writing the way they want to write. And when it is a death threat, and it is for your writing against a particular religion or their interpretation of what our culture is or what we should be doing, then it becomes a bigger threat. And I would not end this agitation or activism through writing, because every writer, I believe, is an activist. There are so many other professions you can choose, but you choose to write because you are a conscientious dissenter.
All right. You had a point to make.
You are there to dissent with any political power.
Okay.
You don't belong to a political party. You are just against any intolerance, any
all right. You have a larger role, ma'am. That's what you're talking about as a writer.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you are an activist anyway.
Dr. Deepika Sharma, as a spokesperson of the BJP, let me ask you about what Mr. Arun Jaitley had to say earlier on. And I think the central argument that he made was this is all a manufactured protest. Was Chetna's protest manufactured? Was the protest of that Dalit writer who had his fingers threatened to be chopped off just 100 kilometers away from where Mr. Kalburgi, Dr. Kalburgi was murdered, was it manufactured?
Vishnu, I would like to point out one thing is this, that Mr. Kalburgi was murdered in Karnataka. Madam writer Chetna ji is also from Karnataka, and I think this particular Dalit writer who's got this threat of thumb chopping or finger chopping is also from Karnataka. So I would definitely appeal to that particular government in Karnataka to take a very, very strict view of this and protect this very enlightened class, for the simple reason that they should not be seen in the context of politicization, but they should be seen in terms of a firm law and order situation, and writers definitely need to be protected. so that they have a free voice and they are the conscious keepers of the society.
Kiran Nagarkar, let me ask you this. What Arun Jaitley actually had to say earlier on is that this protest has been selectively picked, right? A lot of you did not protest during the emergency. Dabolkar was shot down in Maharashtra under a Congress regime, so also making that point that look, don't blame the BJP for it. Did you speak out against the Sikh killings, the Bhagalpur riots? Was your conscience not shaken up by corruption between 2004 and 2014? The question being asked is, why have you chosen to come out now? Do you not believe that there is some validity to what Mr. Jaitley was saying?
Quite the contrary. Let me start with a quibble. I wrote a full-length play which was banned when the emergency was on. Okay. I started writing it even before that. So, and when the 1984 riots took place, I thought I would rather blacken my own face than come out in public and look at any Sardarji or Sikh family or anybody. So at that point aside, this manufactured
dissent. That's the word
yes,
used.
This is those are words that are used by a politician, and I think in this matter I wish we would leave the politics aside. I wish I could say that this tutu mai would just disappear and we could face and confront, not only confront but actually take action. Yes, it is true that these things are happening in Karnataka, but the climate just now is so permissive. There is an atmosphere which allows people to think that they can get away with anything. Don't you remember what happened at Dadri? The man was murdered, his son was very, very severely injured, and you had BJP people coming up and saying that if any action is taken against the people who have done all this, we will retaliate.